On the stage, we have attorney, forester, and now we have an accountant coming to the podium, a chartered accountant. So, Ted, welcome to Alabama.
Well, thanks, Chris. That last comment kind of hurt. My dad wanted me to get a profession, and I could only do math. Couldn't do anything, couldn't remember anything, could only do math. Became a CA. After a week working there, I thought, I cannot do this. I'd never been on an airplane, and the sales job opened up in pulp sales, so I thought, I'll try that for a couple of years. So I'm actually a pulp salesman. That's what I really am. I'm not a forester, and I'm not a sawmiller, so, but we're really a sawmilling company. So I go into our mills, and I tell them, this pulp salesman's going to tell you how to run your mill, and they just laugh at me. And that hurts too, but you know, I could complain all day, and that's what I usually do, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company. So let me get started here. Okay. See, I can just do math. I can't do anything else. How do I get this thing to work? There we go. There you go. That looks pretty impressive, eh? So I'm going to do a couple things today. I'm going to talk about West Fraser. I'm going to talk about why we expand in the South. Our outlook for lumber markets, there seems to be an interest in that. I'm going to talk, what I'm really passionate about is how we're investing in capital, but more importantly, people. So, you just heard about West Rock. And actually, I used to sell white top liner board and container board, and wasn't good at that either. So, anyways, West Rock is a large company. This is how we started, and I think all companies start this way. And we started with three brothers. I'm going to talk about them in a minute, that went up to Quesnel, British Columbia. It's interior British Columbia in 1955. Without any money, found a little planer mill, got 12, actually 9 other folks to help them get started, and that's how the company started. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our operating philosophy. It's very simple. And what I find interesting about this is our philosophy on day one. And, you know, companies seem to, in this world of, and I'm not going to be rude here, but in this world of higher education, and I'm a big fan of higher education, there's also something that comes with that, and that's consulting. And consulting is all about reinventing yourself as a company every 3 or 4 years. We don't do that. We've been the same way from 12 employees to today with 8,000. Real simple, low cost. And, you know, we really are, we're low cost, we're very cheap, but we reinvest money in a big way in our company because we believe that you've got to have the best technology to support your people, support your business. We're in a volatile business, cyclical business. Lumber is a very cyclical business, as everybody in this audience knows, and so we run with a very conservative balance sheet, and that also gives us the opportunity to grow when others want to shrink. So growth is a big part of our story, and I'll talk about that briefly. This, to me, is my most important slide. It's about our values, and those haven't changed. It's about frugality. It's about humility, competitiveness. This next one is a tough one. We have 8,000 employees, and we all work really hard to make sure each one of our employees understands that they're important to us. And that's not just to make them feel good. That's because if you are important in our company, you're going to make a difference. And if you're going to make a difference, our mills are going to run when others don't run. We'll be a good employer, we'll be a good customer, and we'll be a great supplier. And we're really big on teamwork. We have very little hierarchy in our company. We've got, you know, for 8,000 folks, we've got probably 20 corporate people, and so we all do a lot of everything, and we run it like a small company. We work as a team, and that's what we want to continue to do. That is real tough as we grow. You know, we've grown into a company with. Actually, I want to back up a step here. Those three gentlemen are the brothers that started this company, Sam, Pete, and Bill Ketchum, and you can look at their shoes. They're actually, you can see how they just wore everything and kept everything until it totally, they couldn't wear it anymore. And actually, Bill's still alive. Bill's 91. I spent a day with him a couple of weeks ago, sharp as a tack, and his nephew, Hank Ketchum, ran the company for 28 years, and Hank's our chairman. He's my boss. I might have the big fancy titles, but he's my boss, and And I work for him, and even though I'm not a family member, I feel like I'm part of that family. And that's, even though we're a large company now, we like to run like a family company. We like to run like a small company. That's why those values are really important. And they're easy to say, but it takes committed leadership from all our folks to make that happen each and every single day. So let me talk about who we are today. So we have 28 sawmills. So as Chris mentioned, we're a large lumber producer, we're a large pulp producer, and we're a large plywood producer, and we make a bunch of other stuff. Until in 2005, IP sold a lot of things, I guess, and we bought two of them. We bought their Canadian assets in the beginning of 2005, and then in 2007, because we like to grow, we like to have a conservative balance sheet, we like to buy it, we think the bottom of the market, and I'll show you, housing starts at 2007. Yeah, we got that one wrong too. We bought a number of sawmills in the U.S. South from them. So we went from 9 communities, about 3,000 employees, everything that felt really small, to this company in 33 communities spread across British Columbia, Alberta, and the U.S. South. Why did we grow in the South? A lot of foresters here. I think you should figure that out. That's called the mountain pine beetle. It is killing, it's not killing, it's killed our trees in interior British Columbia. British Columbia is shrinking. We need it to grow, and we really want it to look, where do we grow? And we've been in the, we're the first Canadian company in the U.S. I know there's been a lot of companies that have come through, and I have tremendous respect for them, and they're doing great things. And all three of us are trying to integrate ourselves in the South and be part of this great southern lumber business. But we came down for really this reason: timber supply. You all know this, I don't have to tell you that. We came down here for the largest lumber market in North America. And so that's what we got excited about. There's been a lot of consolidation over the last, 10 years, and as you can see that, a tremendous amount of consolidation. If anybody wants these slides, if you're tired of listening to me, we can get them out to you. In 2007, again, what we thought was at the bottom of the lumber market, we bought 13 sawmills from International Paper, and we're spread across 8 states. In Alabama, we've got 2 mills. We've invested $55 million in the last couple of years, and that's the thing we really struggled with, and we were tremendously disappointed. In 2007, we bought these mills, and we really thought they were underinvested. And we want to be low cost. We want to reinvest. We want to be the first quartile producer, and we have that reputation as being, a very strong lumber producer. We weren't able to do that because we went through the financial crisis, the housing crisis, and we really did our employees a tremendous disservice here in the South. And I do want to apologize for that, but we just did not want to risk the company. So we really just started capital spending, really just in the last couple of years. I'm not supposed to say this. I think Sean McLaren, who runs our U.S. business, tells me what not to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. We are going to spend a lot more money down here. We're going to spend more than that, I expect, over the next couple of years in Alabama to continue to invest in our mills down here. So we want to continue to be a great employer in Alabama, and I'm going to talk about that a bit more in a few minutes. We've grown a lot. I would expect that in 5 years, with our current footprint of assets, we'll be smaller in British Columbia because of mountain pine beetle, and with all the investment we've made in the South, we're going to be bigger. So our biggest region, by far, I expect in 5 years, will be right here in the South. We are, I guess, the largest lumber producer. Being large is kind of interesting. We want to be the best, and being the best comes back to our values. It's about our frugality, our competitiveness, our teamwork. We want our employees to feel great about the company. We do a good job there, we'll do fine. I'm going to talk about markets a little bit, and I show this chart a lot, and we're pretty excited about where we're going, but we had a really serious downturn. Interesting thing about our company in that period, we came out of that downturn with a stronger balance sheet than we went into it, and that's because of our employees. We ran hard. We generated cash in the bottom of the market, and we did lose money once or twice, but we as a company generated cash throughout that period, so we came out of that with a really strong balance sheet. We're quite encouraged about this growth rate, believe it or not. We like slow growth. We're not sure if we're going to get to 1.5 or 1.6 million housing starts in the South, in the U.S., but let's remember, 6 years ago, China didn't buy wood from Canada. Now we sell the equivalent of about 300,000 housing starts every year into China. So that's pretty important. So when you look at demand on North American lumber production, it's not just here, it's offshore as well. I want to make a little pitch here for wood. And, I was sitting here and I was talking to Craig, and I said, that table's made out of glass and metal. We're forest products industry. That should be wood. We should be building with wood. In Canada, we use about 50% more wood per capita than we do in the U.S. It's a great opportunity. You were talking earlier this morning about regulations. I hate regulation. I think where government can help create that opportunity to grow for the right products. And from an environmental standpoint, I don't have to tell you how good our product is. It's a tremendous product environmentally. It's a very safe product to build with. And it's not about regulation, it's about using the right product. So we're very excited about that. And I can tell you, we are working very hard, not as a company, but as an industry. Out of the last softwood lumber agreement in 2006, the Softwood Lumber Board was formed, and I've gotten to know a lot of my competitors, and they've become very good friends. And a few of them are here today, and they're from all companies, large and small, in North America. And while we've seen lumber production demand grow, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, about a quarter of the growth that we've seen in the last 6 years, about 800 million feet a year, is the direct result of industry working together to change codes, to drive lumber demand, to show people that building with wood is good. And we're making progress, and we've got a lot more to go. I think we've just scratched the surface again. We're using 50% less wood. My numbers might be off a little bit, but it's a big number for in construction in the U.S. and we're in Canada. We got an opportunity here. That'll be good for all of us. Here's a picture. That's at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, where I live. In fact, I was just out there Saturday. This is an 18-story building made out of cross-laminated timber. It was erected in 2.5 months. They built 3 floors a week. It's fully erected. Actually, they haven't completed the inside of it, but it's got wood floors, wood walls. We supplied a third of the wood. I think Canfor supplied the other third, and Interfor, again, 3 companies there in the south, supplied the other third. And I'm not sure how many 18-story buildings we're going to build, but it sure tells you what you can do with wood. And we've moved to 6-story stick frame construction in most major cities in Canada. And I think we've got them in a few U.S. cities from 4 stories just in the last couple of years. So again, that's where government can really help us in terms of building the demand for lumber. And we have to do a good job, and we have to work closely with architects and engineers to make sure we build these structures in a safe way. But I got to tell you, 3 floors a week. That's what happened there. Think about what that means to a builder. 3 floors a week. This is a tremendous opportunity, and we should all be proud of that. And I know there's one happening in Minneapolis. I think it's about 10 stories or 12 stories, and they're talking about a 40-story building in Chicago. We'll see if it happens, but we need to get behind that. And when you look at Alabama, which I think is the 3rd largest forestry state in the U.S., we need to get behind that, working together to create demand. So markets, back to markets. From the peak of about 76 billion feet, I think that's what that number, 76 in the U.S. We went down to 42 billion feet of demand in 2007, I think. We're slowly growing. We're growing at about 2.5 billion feet a year. That's pretty significant, and we really believe that that's going to continue on for the next couple of years. Part of that's housing starts, but a lot of that is just other use for wood. But we can continue to find more demand for wood. So I'm getting repetitive, but it's very important. North American lumber production is not going to come back to where it was before. We were at a peak of 76 or something like that billion feet. Canada's going to be down about 10 billion feet. You've seen British Columbia come up a little bit as the market's improved, but we're basically at the end of the economic and biological shelf life of this dead wood. So we're moving now back towards greenwood, and I expect we're going to go down to about 9 to 10 billion feet in the next couple of years. So the big growth here is going to be in the south, and we also understand there'll be some growth in the west, western U.S. So, Economics 101 tells you demand is growing, supply's not going to grow as quickly. This is one of the regions where it can grow. We expect to have very good lumber markets over the next couple of years. Okay, now a bit more about West Fraser. We spent a lot of capital, probably in the U.S. South, well in excess of $300 million the last couple of years. And we're spending a lot of money on energy. And not to take away from the energy companies, but we believe we have a use there. And we need to use the entire forest resource. We need to use the chips, the bark, the sawdust, and the shavings. And that's what we do in Canada. We use the entire tree, and we think that creates value for our company. We also think it's kind of cool stuff. It helps us attract people, helps us attract young people, because they really do see the future of our industry from a sustainability standpoint, in terms of building with wood and using the entire resource. And so we've invested in 6 energy and bioproduct projects in the last couple of years. We're very pleased with that. We're now producing enough energy at West Fraser to power 100,000 homes. That's pretty significant. We're not as big as you are, but we're working on it. And I keep challenging our guys down here to see if there's an opportunity in time, and we'll keep working on it. But I think that's exciting stuff. We've rebuilt 5 sawmills. I'm just throwing pictures and numbers at you. But, we spent a lot of money in 8 planer rebuilds, 22 continuous kilns, which, helps us dry our lumber, and again, is more energy efficient. We make a better product. Why do we spend all this money? We want to have a first-class company. It's been hard, it's been hard on our employees. We've been ripping apart basically 40 mills, and we still have a bit more to do. It's like trying to live in your house while you're renovating, the kitchens and the bathroom. And we've asked our employees to do that for us, and they have worked very hard. But our results have been half decent financially. That's not what I'm here to talk about, but I'm really excited when I look at the macro trends. I'm excited about where we're going as a company. But here's what I'm really excited about, and it's about our people. And most of this stuff is Canadian stuff. We started in Canada. We're working to do the same in the U.S. But I'm passionate about our employees. To me, there's 3 things I worry about. Do we have fiber? Are our employees safe? And are we helping them achieve their potential? We promote from within. We've had tremendous turnover with the baby boom. I'm actually just about the oldest person in our office now, and that's, I guess, kind of neat, not for me, but for everybody else. But, we've, out of our 78 top people, 48 of them are in new jobs in the last couple of years, and only 1 was an external hire, and that was, we had to create a role in Canada, because you think it's challenging dealing with government down here. We now have a vice president of government relations in Canada for a company that tries to act like they're small, and so we didn't have that skill set in-house, and we brought a gentleman in to help us deal with government. And you talk about, I don't want to get too political here, but we know what's left of the Democrats, and that's some of the politics we have in Canada. So we have to work very hard with our governments, because they own our lands and they're a challenge to deal with. We're very happy to buy from private timber owners down here, because the relationship is based solely on commercial interests and doing the right thing. And I heard somebody else say that this morning, doing the right thing. That's what West Fraser tries to be all about. We've won a bunch of awards, and to be honest with you, they don't mean a lot to me. About 3 years ago, we like to be low-key. Not a lot of people know we're a large company. And one of our employees said, I want to let you know, because we don't have an HR department in our company. We got a couple HR folks, and one of our young ladies, she said, Ted, I want to let you know we just applied for Canada's top 100 employer. I said, why would we do that? We don't want people to know who we are. Why would we do that? Shows you how smart I am. Well, we want it. And I'm not sure what it means to our employees, but it sure has helped us recruit. But the one I'm most proud of is, top 10 corporate cultures in Canada. And I think it comes back to our values. It comes back to our owners. It comes back to the 3 brothers that started the company. And we're working hard to do the same thing for our employees here in the South. We want to invest in our mills, but and people say it's about people. You can talk about it, but it's about it's really about treating people well. It's about giving them a future. It's about making sure their families care about the company. And the best part about my job is I'm happy to be here, by the way. But I'm going to be very happy to leave here in about an hour, because I'm going to go visit 6 mills in the next 3 days, teach them how to make lumber, have lunch or dinner with all our employees, harass our employees. And I'm going to just tell you a quick story. I'm going to show you a video in a second, then you'll be done with me. But I want to give you an example of how everybody's important. And I want to give you an example of frugality and values. And, I grew up with parents that grew up in the Depression. Our founders are about the same age as my dad, if he was still alive, would be, and we learned how to do a lot with very little. And our generation was taught that, and I worry about the next generation. I really worry about that next generation. I really worry about it as we get to be a bigger company. I think about how I grew up, and I got an airplane for the first time when I was 23, and I know what my kids have done. They've been to Europe and they've been to Hawaii, and mom and dad have done a lot for them. And I think that generation's done a lot, and I think we've got to be driving these values and cultures down through the next generations in our company. We can't forget that. When I go to our mills, I talk to management a bit, but I spend a lot of time on the floor. And I don't know how to run a sawmill, but I like talking to people. And I'll tell you a little story. And it actually happened at Maplesville, actually, a couple of years ago. And I was walking through we were where we grade lumber, which is in the planer, which is kind of, I call the last line of defense. If we overgrade it, we give money away to our customers. If we undergrade it, our customers aren't that happy, and it costs us money, and it makes for a bad business. So I'm walking through, and I see two guys grading, and I keep thinking there should only be one, but there's two. Canfor probably only has one, but we have two. We're trying to catch up, Mitch, but we're working on it. Anyways, there's a guy about my age, and there's a guy about 22, and so I say to the fellow who's my age, "How you doing today?" And he goes, "Great." I said, "How long have you been working here?" He says, "Oh, I've been here for 25 years. How do you like it?" "I love it. I love working in a sawmill." "Why do you love it?" I just love it. I can't explain it. I just love it. I love the people. I love lumber. I love everything about it. Then I see the younger guy. How you doing?" "I'm okay." "How long have you been here?" "I've been here 8 months." These guys the younger guys don't know me. The older guys know me because, I hadn't been through that mill for maybe a year. And so I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'm all right." "How long have you been here?" "I've been here 6 months." "How do you like it?" "It's kind of boring." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, your coworker seems to love it here." I said, "Do you realize what you do is pretty important?" He goes, "Not really, I'm just grading lumber." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, if you make a little bit more effort, you think you could find $1 a day for us?" He said, "Oh yeah, easy." I said, "Okay, how about $10 a day?" "Oh yeah, I can do that." "How about $100 a day?" He says, "You're kind of pushing it." I said, "Okay, let's just do the math, $10 a day." Again, the only thing I know how to do is simple math. So 8,000 employees, $10 a day, 365 days a year. I assume people are thinking about their job every day. That's $25 million for our company. That's $25 million we can invest in each one in our assets every year. You do that, and you get an EBITDA multiple on that investment. That makes a big difference. I didn't explain EBITDA multiples to him, but I did say what you do is important. And the other thing you do important is that your fellow employees here, the product they're producing, they want to be proud of it, and you need to think about that. And so, those are the kind of things that I think about, and that's why I really am passionate about this industry. And I think we have a tremendous opportunity. But the thing we need to focus on the health of our forest, access to fiber. We need to focus on the safety of our employees. But all that won't work if the next generation of employees don't care as much about the business like most of the folks here. And I know there's some younger folks here, but our job is to make that happen. And we're hiring a lot of folks every year. So is the whole industry. We're going through a baby boomer change here, and we need to focus on that. So I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but if I can leave you with one message, when you go back to work, talk to your young people. That's the most important thing. We celebrated our 60th anniversary last year as a company. We did it in all our communities, and we did about a 12-minute video, and I actually got kind of teared up when I watched it for the first time. I'm not kidding. And you're not going to see me tear up. I think we've cut it down about 2.5 minutes. So if we could play that video, I'll get off the podium, and that'll give you a sense of our people and how they think about working at West Fraser. So if we could do that, that'd be great. Thanks.